Hey, it's James here from Guitarist.com, and today I'd like to show you 4 common chord progressions that every beginner guitarist should know. And before we get started, I want to answer a couple questions that most students have when I present them with this. First, what is a chord progression? A chord progression is simply 2 or more chords that sound good together. And why do they sound good together? You know, there's tons of reasons for that, and that's what music theory theorizes about. This is more of a practical lesson, however, so we won't touch upon much theory except for the Nashville Number System, which is this way to unlock all the chords in all the keys super easily and know which chords are guaranteed to work well together. Now, the second question you might have is, why learn chord progressions? And first and foremost, they are the gateway into learning to play by ear. You learn the chord progressions, you know them like the back of your hand, and then you'll be listening to music and you'll be like, hey, I know that progression. That's just C, A minor, F, G. And, you know, since you've played it a million times, you'll recognize it. And all the progressions that we're going to be doing in this lesson, you've already heard them like a million times in your life. And once you actually get to know what they are, your journey to playing by ear will truly begin. You know, you'll be able to use that as the gateway to understanding music theory. You'll take that C, A minor, F, G progression, and you'll use the Nashville Number System, and you can translate it into a different key, like the key of G, and you get G, E minor, C, D. And in fact, to help you with that, I made a worksheet for this on my Patreon, and in it there's a chart. You can see this chart right here, and that's all the chords in every key. You know, using this chart, you can easily translate stuff into whatever key you want, and I'll show you how to use it throughout this lesson. Anyways, another reason to learn chord progressions is for songwriting. You play around with a progression, you hum a melody, and that's a good way to start writing your own tunes. In fact, copyright law doesn't cover chord progressions because they're so ubiquitous. You know, they're everywhere. Copyright covers the melody, the lyrics, it'll cover the overall structure of the song, but not the progressions used within it. And that's why so many hit songs use the exact same progressions, you know, like the ones that I'm about to show you. And then finally, there's the obvious stuff like learning chord progressions to practice chord switching and to, you know, get better at the fundamentals. After all, songs are just made up of chord progressions. You know, you learn these chord progressions, you practice them, you will find songs that you like that use them, and you'll already be able to play them. You just have to add some strumming and, you know, maybe a couple other little things. Now, before we get started, there's a worksheet for this on my Patreon page that has everything you need to learn these progressions and to easily change keys, use them to learn songs or to start songwriting. There's also my free ebook down below. It's completely free for all my subscribers, and it helps you build all the fundamentals. Anyways, here's chord progression number 1. And that progression is G, D, E minor, C. And it's probably the most common chord progression ever. You know, just to name a few songs that use it: Don't Stop Believing by Journey, Country Roads by John Denver, You're Beautiful, James Blunt, I'm Yours, Jason Mraz, Can You Feel the Love Tonight, Elton John, She Will Be Loved, Maroon 5, With or Without You by U2, Let It Be by the Beatles, Under the Bridge by Red Hot Chili Peppers, No Woman, No Cry by Bob Marley, Land Down Under by Men at Work, if you're from down under, Take On Me, When I Come Around by Green Day, Save Tonight by Eagle Eye Cherry, that one-hit wonder from the 90s, Africa by Toto, Hey Soul Sister by Train. You know, there's a lot of songs that use this progression. That's not even like a percent of them. There's so many. And the difference between all those songs is how you strum or pick or finger pick the progression. You know, it's the feel of it. Like for Don't Stop Believing, it's all about pushing into the next chord a little bit early. For Let It Be, you want to alternate between a big downstroke and a little one. I'm Yours by Jason Mraz is like a little stroke followed by a pronounced upstroke. Country roads can be a finger picking thing. You know, it's all about the feel. That's what differentiates these tunes. And if you want to actually learn some songs that use this progression, I teach a bunch on my channel. I'll put some links to those down below. And that's our first progression. And we can just think about it like those 4 chords, G, D, E minor, C. But we can also think about it in numbers. 1, 5, 6, 4. And the numbers aren't just there to add one more thing to confuse you. You know, they have a really, really useful purpose. The numbers allow you to take that chord progression and put it into any key. And that's something I didn't mention before. Those songs all use the same progression, but they're in a few different keys. You know, let me explain. Let's say, for example, we're singing Let It Be using G, D, E minor, C. And it sounds like this. When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me. And let's say that's not in a good range for my voice. Well, I can change it to the key of C, and instead of those chords, I'll use C, G, A minor, F, and it sounds like this. When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me. And that's actually a worse key for my voice. But you know, just for example's sake, let's say that I needed to change keys. There you go. And if I were to explain this whole thing, it would take literally its own lesson or even its own course, you know, which I'll definitely do. But for now, I'm just going to take 1 minute here and give you the summary. When we're playing G, D, E minor, C, we're in the key of G. So G is the home base, you know, that's our starting note, our root note. Our ear compares everything we hear to that note, and it always wants to resolve there. You know, so we find that note, and this is G right here on the lowest string, and we'll play our major scale. Don't worry if you can't do this. I'm just demonstrating here. And we'll count each note of the scale. So G is 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And the best way to start understanding this is to have the answers laid out before you and work backwards from there. So when I play my G scale, these are the notes I played. G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp. And we number those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So when I play my scale, G is 1, A is 2, and so on. And now if we just move our scale up to say C, so I'll start on C, and I'm going to do the exact same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Those notes are C, D, E, F, G, A, B. And this time C is 1, D is 2, and so on and so forth. So when we're in the key of G, are 1, 5, 6, 4, 1, 5, 6, and 4. That's G, D, E, C. And when we're in C, our 1, 5, 6, 4 is C, G, A, F. And even hearing me just play those bass notes, you can really hear the signature or the character of that chord progression. And on top of each of those notes, we're going to build a chord. 1 is major, 2 and 3 are minor, 4 and 5 are major, 6 is minor, 7 is diminished. And don't worry about the diminished. Major and minor is all we need. So we add that to our G scale. We get G major, A minor, B minor, C major, D major, E minor, F sharp diminished, which we're not going to be using in any of our progressions today. And whether they're major or minor, you know, there's a lot of explaining that goes into that. You know, I can't just say one thing and you'll get it. I'll make a separate lesson for that. You know, so please subscribe if you'd like to be notified when that comes out. Anyways, what's important here is that we built a chord on top of each of those notes. So the numbers are the same. The quality, you know, 1 is major, 2 is minor, and so on. That's the same no matter what key you're in. And that's the whole point of the numbers, is that they're universal. You know, so we have 1, 5, 6, 4, and if we pull that out of the key of G, we get G, D, E minor, and C. And if we do that with the key of C, we get C, G, A minor, and F. And I have included this all in the worksheet, among other things, so you can get that on my Patreon page, or you can also find it on Google or whatever. But if you want to support the channel, please check that out. Anyways, we're going to be able to use that chart, and we can just translate progressions from any key to any key super easily, just by matching the chord to the numbers. And then we have our numbers, and we can reverse that, take the numbers, and get any chords out of that. And don't worry if you don't get it yet. We're going to go through this again with another simple progression. No explanations. We're just going to work through the method so you can see it in action. Anyways, moving on, our next progression. This next chord progression uses the same chords, the same numbers, but in a different order. Instead of 1, 5, 6, 4, we're going 1, 6, 4, 5. And the difference may seem subtle in that regard, but it creates a 100% different progression that you can play a ton of different tunes with, like Perfect by Ed Sheeran or Stand By Me. And the easiest way to play it is in the key of G. We get G, E minor, C, and D. And we can use our handy chart to convert this to the key of C. So we have our chords G, E minor, C, D. We find the key of G on the chart. That's the only one that has that combination of chords in it. G is 1, E minor is 6, C is 4, and D is 5. Now we take those numbers and we go to the key of C. We're just picking any key. I want to do C. 1 is C, 6 is A minor, 4 is F, and 5 is G, and that is it. That gives us and now in the key of C, you could play Jamaica by Led Zeppelin. And you're going to get a ton of mileage out of that one too. It's just this much less popular than the first one I showed you. It's like the doo-wop, oldies chord progression, and it's used in stuff nowadays. It's used all over the place. Anyways, the next chord progression I want to show you goes like this. So that's our chord progression, G, C, G, D, or 1, 4, 1, 5. And when you play it like that with the most common strumming pattern ever, you get like Brown Eyed Girl. Hey, where did we go? Down where the rainbow. Or Bye, bye, Miss American Pie. Or we can change keys to E. Looking at our chart here, where we have G, C, G, D. G is 1, C is 4, G again, that's 1, and then D is 5, and we'll go to the key of E, and that gives us 1 is E, 4 is A, 1, that's another E, and then 5 is B, so we have E, A, E, B. And for B, let's make it a B7 chord, make it countryfied, and we can play like And if you want to learn how to do that sort of thing, I have a walking bassline challenge. We go over step by step over the course of 8 lessons, learning how to go from 3 chords and strumming into a full-on country folk walking bassline thing like I just played, or like Johnny Cash would do. And there's a link down below for that. That's on YouTube completely for free. Anyways, we have 1, 4, 5, and that's in a billion songs. I recommend starting with Brown Eyed Girl because it's just a common strumming pattern and it's got a really repetitive form. Anyways, the final chord progression that I'd like to go over This one is more of a minor or darker sounding thing because it starts with a minor chord. And once again, it's ultra popular. You know, it's found in songs like Boulevard of Broken Dreams by Green Day, Zombie by the Cranberries, Save Tonight by Eagle Eye Cherry, One of Us by Joan Osborne, that Little Talks song that was popular a few years ago. And even though it starts with a minor chord, it's still in a major key. In that case, it's in the key of G. And we can tell because the three major chords that are in it, G, C, and D, they only appear in the key of G. And this is one of those things you'll start to get more familiar with more experience. But basically, each key is unique, and you'll look at the combination of chords and you're only going to find them in one key. That's how you do it, right? Let's just practice changing keys one last time here. In G, this progression is 2, 4, 1, 5. You know, I have my chord symbols written out. I find the row. I see what numbers they are. I write that down. And let's plop that into the key of D this time. So 2 is E minor, 4 is G, 1 is D, and 5 is A. And we could strum this one, but I want to arpeggiate it, you know, finger pick it or use my pick to get out some single notes. Anyways, that's all I have to show you today. 4 chord progressions that'll get you tons of mileage, found in thousands of hit songs. Now it's up to you to take that and use them to learn songs or for songwriting or, you know, to just make some simple jams and maybe play with a friend. I hope you found this lesson helpful. Don't forget to like and subscribe. There's that worksheet on my Patreon page that'll help you so much with this sort of thing. And my courses, I didn't even really mention those earlier, but I have a bunch of premium courses that'll help you with everything just like this, you know, from absolute beginner to confident strummer. There's links to all that stuff down below. Take care and I'll see you soon.